Welcome back, everybody. In this lesson, we're going to learn about a little bit more on Python, about statements, expressions, and the operators and their precedence. And we're going to practice on these as well. So let's move on. On statements, we call a single instruction that Python can run is a statement. And in pretty much every programming language, it is the case. Right? A statement is a single instruction that we run in the CPU, in the computer. Okay. Well, it can be single line or multi-line as well. Okay. So it has to be at least a single line. Okay. So multi-line statement has more than one statement. That is it. Okay. So we already have seen one, the assignment statement, something like this: number equals 20. Okay, we call this the assignment statement. Then there are a number of other types of statements too. Okay, and here are a few. And loops, for, while, or in selection, if and else, and which statement. We will learn about which utility of which statement in our files lesson toward the end of this class. Those are actually called compound statements. So they have more than one lines of code. Okay. And often the assignment statement, if we take, it's actually gets silently get executed. Okay. So for example, so let's go back to our interpreter and then test that out as well. So let's say I'm going to take age equals 35. Okay. When I do this, so this is an assignment statement. I am assigning the value 35 to the variable age. Okay. And when I do this, well, nothing happened. Okay. So that's why I said they get silently get executed. Okay. And you can see the value of age now by printing it. Okay. So if it is the interpreter, you can simply type that age and then print it. Or you can also use print command, print built-in function as well. Okay. And will print. Okay. So statements get silently executed often. Okay. The other type of entity is expressions. An entity is a combination of values, operators, variables, just the object values, function calls. They are all expressions. Okay. So usually an expression sit at the right hand side of an assignment. Okay. So in that regard, so this is an expression because 35, the value 35 is sitting in the right hand side of the expression assignment statement. Okay. And here we said, right, variables, values, they're also expressions. Okay. So when we evaluate an expression, it returns that value. Okay. So let's try to do that. Okay. So let's say if we take this expression, let's take an simple expression. So I'm going to take the expression, okay, 10 plus 20. So I'm expecting 30, right? So now I'm going to evaluate this expression. So this is an expression, it's simple mathematical expression. Okay. And when I evaluate this expression, I'm going to get the value 30. So that's what it says. Evaluation of an expression returns a value, and Python, it returns that value. Okay. So if you take a value or an object or a variable itself, it's an expression too. So let me show you that as well. So we go here, age. I already have it as a variable 35. If I just enter that, it will print the value of it. Okay. So variable or value itself is an expression, and I can write third, let's say 45 over here. Well, printed that value as well. So value or variable itself is an expression. So this is an expression. This is an expression as well. Okay. An expression can be part of a statement too. And we saw that already, right? So this is the assignment statement, and it is now the 35, which is an expression. It's a part of this statement. Okay. All right. So the next topic is operators. Okay. So I think we are moving with a steady speed, which is in this class. We have to move on a little bit faster. Okay. Catch your break, get a break, catch your breath, take a break, come back, keep it on. Okay. All right. So let's talk about operators, because day to day we use operators in real life and in programming too. When we solve real life problem in programming, so we are having to use those operators in programming too. For example, mathematical operators: summation, subtraction, division, multiplication, power, right, division, and there are other operators too. Okay. So when you design a programming language, you are having to create a sort of mapping or a standard for the language itself, sort of like a covenant on how to use them. Otherwise, people going to use the way they want, and that gonna create a messy situation, giving out improper or incorrect values. So to prevent that, we have this thing called precedence of operations. Okay, but we're gonna go into that. But we're gonna first analyze. We're gonna go into that later. But we're gonna first analyze few keywords related to operators. Okay, operators operates on operands. Okay, so in this example, 2 plus 5 is the operation. So the plus here is the operation. The mathematical sum is the operation. And that is working on this 2 and 5. So we get the answer 7. So these 2 and 5 are called operands. So 2 and 5 here are operands of the summation. It's really important that you understand and being able to distinguish these entities. Okay. All right. So operations require two operands are called binary operations. And the one we saw previously, and here as well, well, it's a binary operation. Binary means two, right? So two operands, that's the implication. So one here and one here in the either side. So it's a binary operation. Okay. Operations require one operand are called unary operation. Okay. So there's no two things. It's operate on just one value and it's unary. For example, the negative 5 gives me negative 5. So this is a unary operator. This negative right here is a unary operator. So it makes this value 5 the negative value 5. Okay. So there's just one operand, which is 5. Okay, so it's a unary operation. Okay, operation require 3 operands are called ternary operator. Okay, and we're going to learn about that later when we go learn selection. Okay, all right, so talk about a little bit on order of precedence. Okay, so let's check on this link. Okay, I didn't have enough space in my slide to put the entire table, so I linked it here. So let's go click on that. Okay, so this is the table. Okay, so all right, so these are the operators and their description. Okay, and in fact it's actually lists all the operators available to us from Python. Okay, and when we go down the order of this table, it actually the precedence goes down as well. Okay, so in that sense, parenthesis has the highest precedence. Okay, parenthesis, the regular 2 parenthesis has the highest precedence. And when you go down to the bottom of the list, so this assignment statement has the lowest precedence. Okay, all right, and in between you can check few of them. So these are the mathematical division, multiplication, integer division, and modulus operators. Okay, so if they are categorized into a one row, and basically in this table they have equal precedence. So basically all these operators has equal precedence. Okay, so that's why they group them. Okay, and just below that, addition and subtraction less than the multiplication and division operators. And there are some you may not understand right now, but don't worry about it. Okay, so we'll get into those later. And in the selection lesson, we'll get into these comparisons and membership test operators. Okay, and then logical operators. Okay, all right. So basically, the precedence goes down from top to the bottom. Equal precedence from left to right over here. Okay. All right. So let's go back to our slides. Need to do this a little bit. Okay. All right. So okay. So when Python evaluates an expression, the general procedure is it evaluates the expression from left to right. Okay, left to right, and it's usually we write in English, and many of the languages we write from left hand to the right, and then we type from left hand to the right, and also in math we write mathematical equation from left to the right, and then perform mathematical expression left to the right. And that's probably why Python designers choose to do that as well. Okay, so expression get evaluates from left to right. Okay, so operations with same precedence, okay, follow left to right rule. Okay, so now for example, negative and positive, their precedence is same. Remember we saw that they are together in a single row. Okay, so the precedence is they have equal precedence. So that means we go from this end to this end, left end to the right end. So we get the result 7 minus 5 is 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay, we don't do the other way around. If we do this other way around, 2 plus 5 is 7, and 7 minus 7 is 0, right? So that's not the answer. Okay, so that's why I said not 0. Okay, So if you are not sure, always feel free to use the parentheses. Or if you want to enforce the opposite way, you can do so as well. So let's try to do that. Okay, so 7 minus 5 plus 2, well, get 4. Okay, let's say you are not sure. Okay, you just confused. So let's say you can do that. Okay, all right, because remember we saw that parenthesis was on the top, it has the highest precedent. So when Python sees this, it goes to the parenthesis and then basically go inside the parenthesis and perform that operation inside the parenthesis first and get the value and then go to the rest. Okay, so we get 4. Let's say you want to enforce the other scenario, which is the other one, the right to left, you can use the parenthesis there as well. So in here again, this is parenthesis has the highest precedence, so Python will first execute this and that. And in mathematics too, we do that as well, right? So get 0. Okay. All right, moving on. So this is not always true. Okay. There's one exception, which is the exponentiation operator. Okay, and it works on right to left. But just one operator there, this exponentiation operator, which by the way has higher precedence than math operators. See the exponentiation. Okay, so so in this case, this 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 operation result 256, not 64. Let's just try that out too. So 2 to the power 2 to the power 3. Okay, so if I think, okay, this works from this way to like left to right, so then 2 to the power 2 is 4 and 4 to the power 3 is 64, right? So my expectation is 64 if I follow left to right. So notice I have two exponentiation operators. Okay, but when I do this, I get 256. So that means Python did it from right to left. So 2 to the power 3 is 8. 2 to the power 8 is 256. That's why. So again, now parenthesis operator again has the higher precedence, but if you want to enforce, then you can actually put parentheses. For example, you can do this and gives you 64 if you were looking for 64. Okay, and if you are not sure as well, sometimes I also get confused with this. I use parentheses. So for example, you still want to perform this. Okay, the other scenario, which is this one. All right, you can use the parentheses. Okay, all right, so let's move on. So among math operators, parenthesis has the highest precedence, and not only the math operation we saw over here, it's sitting at the top. Okay, all right. So in mathematics, it is the case, right? That's why. All right. All right. That's it, guys. So this is our third lesson. So I hope to see you all in our fourth lesson shortly.